Hello and welcome back to another episode already of Fighting Fantasy. My name is Hakon and I will be your guide through this book today. This is the Citadel of Chaos, which is Fighting Fantasy Gamebook number 2, written by Steve Jackson. And this one is the so-called Star Cover edition, which is quite early on. And it has magic in it, which makes it quite different from the first book in the series, The Warlock of Firetop Mountain, which I just finished. And I did the Aftermath episode just earlier today. So this will be quite new to me, the use of magic in this one. So I will have to go through the magic system with you as I start playing the game, or before I start playing the game. And it will be interesting to see how that works out. So the interior artwork of this one, just like the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, is by Russ Nicholson. Very nice work. The cover is a bit different on this one. And I know they actually changed this for later editions because apparently they didn't like it so much. Well, Ian Livingstone said he didn't like it. I'm not sure about Steve Jackson, but the newer cover is actually, I think I prefer the newer one, but this has a certain quaint charm to it. And of course, it makes it more unique that it's the old one, because there aren't that many of these books now with the old cover on them. So, yeah, some very nice line drawings, as usual, by Russ. So without further ado, I will adjust my camera and my sound recording device, and I will get ready to play another game of Fighting Fantasy, Citadel of Chaos. Right, I am back and I've got my supplies, as I usually say. I've got my game book, got my pens, pencil, dice, paper for a character sheet, paper for a map, both very necessary. And I'll try to zoom out a little bit more today, because last time I realized I was actually not getting everything in shot all the time. So it will be a little bit smaller. So the book will be a bit smaller, but at least you can see more of what I'm doing with a map, for instance. So first of all, because this is a special game book with magic, I'll have to look a little bit at the magic system. I see I have a magic score. I'll just write out my character sheet here. There are no provisions, no potions, it looks like, in this one. So we have skill, stamina, luck, and magic. And those are our abilities. Right, so how do we do this? First of all, what is my magic score? So the luck and stamina are standard. Using luck in battles. Same as in the previous book. There are, you can see it's use skill, stamina, and luck spells. So that comes instead of potions, I guess. Using magic, here we are. So in addition to skill, stamina, and luck scores, you must also determine your magic score in a similar way. 2 dice add 6. Okay, but I'll do the other ones first. I'm starting with my skill, so that's 1 die plus 6. We're starting with 9. Stamina, 2 dice plus 12. So 18. Luck, 1 die plus 6. 8, and magic was 2 dice plus 6. So magic score is 11. I don't know, of course, yet what scores are good. And well, I know that high is better, but I don't know how much I'll need to actually be able to win this game. It's one of those things I usually don't know until after I've won it or finished playing and I realize. Let's say your magic score determines how many magic spells you may use during your quest. So, of course, 11 means I can use 11 spells, I guess. And these spells may be chosen from the list following this section. After considering the spells available, enter your choices in the magic spells box on your adventure sheet. Okay. So if, for example, you roll a 4 and a 3, your magic score will be 13, which means you will be able to use 13 spells during your adventure from the list of spells. You may choose 13 spells as you please. Perhaps you would like to take 3 stamina spells, 5 ESP spells, 5 fire spells, or maybe you would prefer one each of the 12 spells plus an extra creature copy spell. The choice is yours. Okay, so this is an interesting magic system. You choose your spells beforehand, and so they act a bit like items in your inventory that you can use during your quest. Each time during the adventure that you use a spell, you must cross it off your list, even if it is not effective. If you have taken more than one of any spell, you must reduce the remainder available by 1, etc. As you will have no idea of the dangers lurking within the Citadel the first time you enter, you will no doubt choose spells which will not be as effective as you would like. But on subsequent adventures, you will choose your spells more wisely. Also, don't worry if your magic score is low. Even the lowest possible score will provide you with enough spells to complete your quest if you make the right choices, and are best with a little good luck. So, the spells we can choose from are creature copy. That sounds very useful. ESP. So creature copy does make a copy of the monster you're fighting, so you can make it fight itself, as it were. Reading someone's mind with ESP. Okay. Fire. Fool's Gold. Illusion. Let's see. Not that effective. Levitation. Lock. So the lock spell is pretty much like sort of a not quite as effective lock potion. Shielding, invisible shield, skill, stamina, strength, weakness. And I've got 11 to choose. So let's see. So spells. I definitely don't want a stamina spell. I'll just put the different ones I want now. Stamina spell. Creature copy. Fire. Levitation. I just have a feeling I'll fall at some point. Might need luck and skill as well. So if I do 1 luck, 1 skill, 1 levitation, leaves me with 8. ESP 1. Creature copy sounds very useful for 3 stamina spells. That's 7. 1 fire spell, 8. 3 creature copy spells. I think I'll try that just to see how it works. It sounds like a good system anyway to learn your spells beforehand. And then let's see. You start your adventure with a bare minimum of equipment. You're armed with a sword and dressed in leather armor. You carry a lantern, a backpack. It's fine. Right. So I've just need a sip of water now. There we are. And then I am ready to go. So starting with the introduction, in this one it's called History. In the previous one it was called Rumors, wasn't it? History. The lawful good folk of the Vale of Willow have lived some 8 years in awe and fear of the demi-sorcerer Baltus Dire. Demi-sorcerer? I mean, demi-sorcerer? You sort of half know magic and you half don't know magic. Or do you know magic? I thought that was binary. Anyway, in awe since his power is truly awesome, and in fear ever since word leaked from his domain that his ambitious plans of conquest were to commence with the Vale itself. A faithful half-elf sent on a spying mission to the Black Tower came galloping back to the Vale 3 days ago with a frantic warning. From within the caverns of Cragen Rock, Baltus Dire had recruited an army of chaotics and was preparing them to attack the Vale within the week. The good King Solomon was a man of action. Messengers were sent throughout the Vale that day to prepare defences and to summon the menfolk to action. Riders had also been sent to the great forest of Yore to warn the half-elves that lived there and to make an appeal for allied forces. King Solomon was also a wise man. He knew well that the news would inevitably reach the Grand Wizard of Yore, a white sorcerer of great power who lived deep within the forest. The wizard was old and would not last through a battle of this magnitude, but he schooled a number of young magicians, and perhaps one of his students in the magic arts with courage and ambition would aid the king and his subjects. You are the star pupil of the Grand Wizard of Yore. He has been a difficult master, and your own impatience has often got the better of you. Perhaps a little too headstrong. You left immediately for Solomon's court. The king welcomed you enthusiastically and explained his plan. The battle could be avoided without bloodshed if Baltus were to be assassinated before his army could be amassed. The mission ahead of you is extremely perilous. Baltus Dire is surrounded in his citadel by a multitude of appalling creatures. Although magic is your strongest weapon, there will be times when you must rely on your sword to survive. King Solomon has briefed you on your mission and warned you of the dangers that lie ahead. One way through the citadel is the best for you to take. If you discover it, you will be successful with a minimum of personal risk. It may take you several trips to find the easiest way through. You leave the Vale of Willow on the long hike to the Black Tower. At the foot of the hill of Cragen Rock, you can see its outline against the dark sky. And that's our tower here. Now turn over. Right, and perhaps it's time for me to start on my first housekeeping chores, which is going to be my mapping. Let's see. So we are starting at, let's do pencil now, number 1. Actually, who am I kidding? I never use an eraser anyway. I'll use a pen. Number 1. The sun sets. As twilight turns to darkness, you start your climb up the hill towards that forbidding shape silhouetted against the night sky. The citadel is less than an hour's climb. Some distance from its walls you stop to rest. A mistake, as it seems a fearful spectre from which there is no escape. The hairs on your neck prickle as you look towards it. But you are ashamed of your fears. With grim resolve you march onwards towards the main gate, where you know guards will be waiting. You consider your options. You have already thought about claiming to be a herbalist, come to treat a guard with a fever. You could pose as a trader or an artisan, perhaps a carpenter. You could even be a nomad seeking shelter for the night. As you ponder the possibilities and the yarns you will have to spin to the guards, you reach the main trail leading up to the gates. 2 lanterns burn on either side of the portcullis. You hear muffled gruntings as you approach, and 2 misshapen creatures step forward. On the left stands an ugly creature with the head of a dog and the body of a great ape, flexing its powerful arms. Its opposite number is indeed its opposite, with the head of an ape and the body of a large dog. A latter guard approaches you on all fours. It stops some meters in front of you, raises itself on its hind legs, and addresses you. Which story will you opt for? Will you pose as a herbalist? Will you claim to be a tradesman, or will you ask for shelter for the night? So we have our first decision to make, and we've got shelter, tradesman, 230, or herbalist, 261. For some reason, I feel like pretending to be a herbalist more than the other ones. Ask for shelter. I mean, that's a bit... Yeah. That seems a bit too simple, doesn't it? Claiming to be a tradesman. Yeah, maybe. 260. I'll go to 261. Pretending to be a herbalist. Something a bit different. The ape dog asks to see your herbs. Luckily, you grabbed a few handfuls of weeds on your way and you show them. Cocking its head to one side, the creature eyes you suspiciously. It asks you for the name of the guard you have come to treat, something you hadn't planned on. You quickly think of a name to bluff the creature with. So, we have 3 different options of random names to... Excuse me, just one moment. Right, let's see, I am back. Sorry about that. Right, so we've got 3 choices for random names I'll just invent that may or may not be a real one. So we've got Kiltrog, 81, 175, Pincus, or Pincus, 394, Blag. Right. Kiltrog, Pincus, or Blag? I don't know, a guard would have a simple name, wouldn't he? Single syllable. Should I go with Blag? I'll go with Blag. So 394. Because if it's wrong, I suppose I have to fight these creatures. The creatures look at each other as if the name sounds familiar, but they can't quite place it. You quickly add that he is on the first floor watch. They shrug and eventually decide you may be telling the truth. The ape dog summons the gatekeeper, who eventually appears to let you in. Turn to 251. Oh, that was nice. So 251, and that seems to be a way to get in without too much trouble. That might be the easiest way. You walk forward into a spacious open courtyard surrounded by large walls. Various lights are burning and groups of figures are shuffling around in the darkness. In the center of the courtyard is a large monument of some kind, perhaps a fountain. Looking across the yard, you can see what appears to be the main entrance to the tower. Will you creep around the wall towards the tower, stride boldly across the courtyard, or tiptoe through the shadows towards one of the groups? Right, so we have 3 choices. So I'm getting dangerously close to the right edge of the paper here. So let's see. 3 choices again. So we've got stride, 179, creep, 222, or tiptoe, 321. Towards, why would I want to go towards one of the groups? It seems a sort of unlikely thing. So maybe that is the right choice. Maybe I want to tiptoe through the shadows towards one of the groups. Maybe I'll learn something useful. I'll go to 321. Thank you. Cautiously and keeping well out of sight, you creep through the darkness around the edge of the courtyard. There are two groups of creatures in front of you. To the right, you can see two human-like figures talking under a torch fastened to the wall. To the left, a group of 4 creatures of varying shapes and sizes are sitting around a fire, eating. Will you approach the two by the torch, or the group around the fire? Okay, so we've got 269 torch or 339 fire. I'm going to look at the people by the torch. So, the 2 men are dirty and unkempt. As you approach, you can hear them arguing loudly about the price of a dagger. The taller of the two is obviously trying to sell the dagger to the other. He argues that the dagger is enchanted and is worth more than the other is willing to pay for it. As you come closer, he grabs you by the arm and asks you for your opinion on the price of the weapon. What will you say? 5, 8, or 10? So far, this is quite an interesting book in the kind of choices you have to make. And I see Steve Jackson like his 3 options quite a bit. So it sort of branches off quite quickly, doesn't it, just? So price, question mark. So we've got 205, 5 gold, 5 GP gold pieces, 186. They're still inside. Yeah, they're still inside the camera. Still inside shot now. 8 gold pieces or 225, 10 gold pieces. So the one who's asking my opinion is the one who's selling the dagger. So he would want to hear the highest price possible. If I name the highest price possible, he will sort of be on my side. The other one won't be so pleased about it, but I'll be on the side with the one with the dagger. So maybe I'll say 10 gold pieces. I'll say 10 gold pieces. So let's see. He agrees entirely. This artifact is extremely valuable. A shorter man explains that he just doesn't have that kind of money and wanders off into the darkness. The tall man offers the dagger to you at the bargain price of 9 gold pieces. You may use a fool's gold spell to conjure up enough gold to buy the knife. Deduct the spell and turn to 15, or you may apologize and press onwards, turn to 245. So, I didn't take any fool's gold spell, so more fool me. Right, so fool's gold question mark. So we have so that's 15. Yes, or 245. No, I presume it would have been useful to have the dagger, so maybe I'll try that out some other time. I'm sure there will be a next time, because there's no way I'm going to win this on the first try, I would imagine, because, I mean, I don't even know if I have the right spells. So I'm going to press onwards, and I'm going to go to 245. You set off towards the Citadel. Although the night air is calm, you hear a faint whistling which rapidly gets louder and louder, until a strong gust of wind suddenly hits you with such a force that you can barely move against it. You shield your eyes until the blast retreats slightly, and as you open them, you see a ghostly female face inside what appears to be a living whirlwind. She mouths words at you which you cannot make out, but some seconds after she has finished talking, The message reaches you. She seems to find your appearance offensive and is challenging you with words of abuse. You grab at your sword, but she laughs. Will you ignore her and continue? Talk to her, or use your magic to see her off? And that's quite an interesting drawing there as well. Very nice. Right, so I've got 3 options again. So let's see, whirlwind. And I can either ignore 161, ignore. Which doesn't sound like she wants to be ignored. 390 talk, or 47 magic. I don't know what magic I would have that might work against something like this. Well, creature copy, I suppose. Fire doesn't seem very likely. I don't know. I'll try to talk to her. So I'll do 390. See what happens. Might learn something useful. She begins to torment you, blowing you off your feet each time you rise. Test your luck. Okay, so we have test luck for the first time. And so lucky is 350. And unlucky is 122. So testing my luck, I've got a luck of 8. Oh, that's really low, isn't it? And I rolled a 7, so that is me being lucky. And I'll turn to 350. You try a simple ploy to get rid of her, hoping that she is not too intelligent. Looking into the shadows, you claim to see another similar creature. She claims you are mistaken, but you are convincing. She nips off to investigate, allowing you to rush to the Citadel entrance. So I suppose a creature copy speller would have worked really well as well, but it's nice to have that for some other time. So I am going then to 218. Now let's do that here, because I presume some of these other paths will also lead there. Okay, so in front of you is a large wooden door, firmly locked. You may either knock 3 times for the guard, turn to 118, or you may use a strength spell to try to open it. I do not have a strength spell, so I didn't think of. I presume that all the spells are possible to use at some point during this game. It's just, of course, that they won't all be that useful in completing it in the easiest way possible. So I can either do so I'm going to do 118 knock or 94 strength spell. So I'll have to knock. No option really. The door opens and a large brutish creature steps out. It has a sharp horn in the middle of its forehead, and its skin appears to be armor-plated. It grunts to ask you what you want and demands the password before letting you in. Do you know the password? If so, turn to 273. If not, you will have to bluff your way in. So I presume maybe if you went over to the people sitting around the fire, they might know the password. Password, question mark, and so 273, yes, and 198, no. I'm not going to try to guess the password. Seems a bit like cheating if I do. So I'm going to go to 198. You think quickly. You reach into your bag and pull out a handful of weeds. Showing them to the creature, you explain that you are a herbalist and you have come to treat the Lord's librarian, who is critically ill. The messenger never told you of any passwords. Will he believe you? Test your luck. Again, okay, so that's twice I've had to test luck now. Lucky. If you're lucky, he believes you and lets you in. Turn to 177. If you are unlucky, he doesn't care who you are. You may not enter without the password, and he advances toward you with his pike. So, unlucky 290, unlucky 177. Okay, so all luck is now 7, and I am rolling 6. So my luck is down to 6, and I am allowed to enter. So here we are. You are in a narrow hallway. This continues for several meters and ends in a doorway halfway along the path. That's a lot of ways there. Hallway, doorway, and halfway. Also archway coming up next. Along the passage you can see an archway where some steps lead downwards. Will you go forwards to the door or creep down the steps? So we have another option now of going there. So 5 door, 344. Down. Let's do right down. Should I go down or check out the door? I'm going to creep down the steps. I'm going to go to 344. Should I check out the door first? Will I be able to do both? I don't know. I'll check out the door. You try the handle of the door and it turns, opening into another hallway. Some distance along the passageway turns to the right and ends shortly in another door. On this door is a sign which reads, "Please ring for butler." A rope, evidently the bell, hangs by the door. Will you ring as instructed or try the door handle? So we've got... let's see, ring, question mark. So we got 40, ring, or 361, door handle. I'm not going to ring. I'm going to try the door handle. Got the butler out, and he would be able to use my cover story on him, would I? Again, the door opens, but as you open it, you hear the deafening clanging of an alarm bell. Test your luck. Again. My luck will run out soon at this pace. So. 126, unlucky. 297. Lucky. My luck is now 6. Need to start rolling really well now. 4, still being lucky. So 297. You slam the door shut behind you, and above the clanging bell you can hear the sound of footsteps running quickly and getting closer. The corridor ahead forks 2 ways. So we... Oh, hang on. Yes, that's the right one. Will you spring ahead and take the right fork, turn to 2, or the left fork, turn to 316, or will you go back through the door and ring for the butler? Interesting that you can do that as a choice as well. So we have another 3 choices. So 75, go back. Right fork 2, right. Left fork 316, left. I'm going to go to the right fork and see what happens there. A little way up the passage, there is a doorway on the right-hand side. This door has some strange scrawlings on it, but they are in a language that you do not understand. Would you try opening the door? Turn to 142. I'm not sure I like the wording when you try opening the door. It sounds like it's a trap or something. Or will you continue up the passage? Turn to 343. So we have... so we're going to a door and 343, continue, or 142, open door. I'm still going to open the door, even though this may be a warning that it says try opening the door. I will try opening the door. You try the handle and it turns. You can hear nothing coming from inside the room, so you open the door to look around. The room is small, with a golden candlestick on a table, but suddenly you hear a creaking sound coming from the floor. Too late to realize that the stones beneath your feet are shifting to reveal a trap. You fall feet first into a pit. As you hit the bottom, you roll sideways, down another passage, and continue rolling downwards. Try as you might, you cannot stop yourself rolling head over heels until eventually you come to a halt in a small chamber. But the shock has been too much for you. As the world goes black around you, you'll hear excited chatterings. Then you pass out. Turn to 234. See, I told you there was a trap. Yeah. Trap. And we are going to 234. Yeah, I'll just take that one up there. 234. Let's see what happens next. You wake up in a dirty room with rough walls cut into the rock. Iron bars in the window and the door confirm your suspicion that you are in a prison cell of some sort. There is not much you can do but sit on the straw mattress in one corner until someone appears. An hour or so later, you hear a shuffling noise outside. Looking through the bars in the door, you can see a lizard-like creature shuffling down the corridor, carrying a mug and a bowl. That's this two-headed guy here. That reminds me of Zaphod Beeblebrox for some reason. The beast has two heads which talk to each other as he walks. Its skin is grey and scaly, and a long tail follows it up the passage. It stops at your door and pushes the bowl and mug through a small opening into your cell, then shambles off to sit at a table across the hall. You have been given bread and broth. Will you eat and drink, or will you call out to this creature, a calicorn? To take your food, turn to 397. If you wish to shout to the calicorn, turn to 69. So, we have the option of eating our food or shouting. So, 397 or 69. So, shout or eat. I'm going to eat my food. Maybe there's dessert afterwards. This is not much of a meal, but you were hungry and thirsty, and this offering restores 2 stamina points, which I cannot really use. Plus 2 stamina. Now you may either call out to the calicorn, turn to 69, or use a spell to try to get out of the situation, turn to 193. Now that is interesting. If you eat, you're actually given the option of using a spell. So 193 spell. So I'm going to try to use a spell. Don't know which I've used yet, but let's see. So 193, choose a spell. Fool's Gold, ESP, or Illusion. So we have Fool's Gold, let's see, 35, 123 on 211. Fool's Gold, that's the second time that's come up now. ESP, I do have that. Or Illusion. So I don't have illusion. I don't have fool's gold. I've got 1 ESP. I will try ESP and use my first spell ever in a fighting fantasy game book. That's going to be so exciting. ESP. You concentrate on images from the Calicorn flash through your mind. You see a plate full of dead snakes, then a similar-looking creature with greyish skin, possibly the female of its species. Then you feel a great sense of pleasure as you see an unfortunate creature bound to the wall, having its toes tickled with a burning torch. Oh dear, this is getting really filthy, isn't it? Then you see the plate of snakes again. Evidently, this creature thinks about little but the simple pleasures of its miserable life, and you will not learn much about how to escape. You had better try a fool's gold spell or an illusion spell if you have neither 10 to 283. So, right, so that was not the best option in that case. So I'll just put a minus on that, so I know not to do that again. Just a red square like that. I'm not going to put anything like that over by the trap, because this might yet actually be the best place to go. For all I know, sometimes going into a trap is a shortcut. So I have neither, so I go to 283. That is down there, 283. Without magic, your fate is sealed. You are doomed to spend the rest of your days as a prisoner in the Citadel of Chaos. You have failed in your mission. And the game is over. That was shorter than I expected, but it's nice that there is a little sort of the end section right here as well. Lovely. Okay, so that wasn't a very long session. I will not start over again right this minute, because I think I played long enough that doesn't make any sense today, and there's no point pressing on and pretending like I've got anything that I don't, because it's too early for me to do that. So I will play this again, perhaps later today. I will make a second video about that, and well, I will use my map and the things I've learned on this run through to make some different decisions. For instance, I know that the Fool's Gold spell would help me to get the dagger. I don't know how much that will help me later, though. I am suspecting maybe going to the campfire might make me learn something about the password, because where else would you be able to learn it? I don't think there's anywhere else where you could learn that. So we'll try that next time and ignore the dagger, of course. And then I will make some different choices after I get into the Citadel itself. Maybe go down the stairs, see what there is to find there. In any case, it will be interesting and exciting and fascinating and probably deadly. And it will be, well, it will be truly magical. So thanks for watching, and I will be looking forward to seeing you again soon when I'm doing my second episode of the Citadel of Chaos. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.